of women in Ashraf and Camp Literacy and their struggle would contribute to the struggle of women.
I'm Sarah Phillips. I have my master's degree in women's studies. I'm a scholar of women's studies around the world and globalization. And I have quite a concern for the women of Ashraf. I know them personally through emails and correspondence. My father worked with them firsthand. So I feel like they are my friends and family over there as well. Absolutely. They represent everything that I think every woman should feel inside, because no matter where you are in the world, whether you be in America, whether you be in the Middle East, Asia, Africa, there are always oppositions, there's always inequalities that women face. It's not just women in one location, it's a humanitarian issue, and I just have so much respect and honor for what the women are doing of Ashraf, because they are in a location specifically where they are doing everything contrary to what they're told to do, and they are just doing it with such bravery. I really, really respect them. Honestly, there's something that we all have in common. We are all women. At some point in our life, somewhere, a woman will face oppression. Everyone will, at some point in their life, feel what it means to be a second-class citizen, that equality is not total yet. So if there is a small young girl somewhere who feels like it's not going to get better, she has to remember to stand strong, because there are women all over that believe in her and believe in her equality and in her strength. And no matter what your religion is, we have a commonality, and that's that we do have strength as women. I have great love and great respect for Madam Rajavi. She has done something that women in free countries who don't have to worry about chains of oppression as much couldn't even fathom doing. She has, against all odds, brought people together, and she's brought them together with a goal of humanitarian efforts and equality. And I just can't imagine where she even started, but her inspiration just spreads across borders, beyond borders. To my sisters in Ashraf, I just want you to know that my heart is with you, that I am part of this fight 100%, and I will do whatever I can to ensure your freedom and your safety. And I hope that through my words you find some strength and know that you do not stand alone in the world, and that every day more and more people are learning about your plight and about what you stand for, and let the strength just know that there are thousands of women around the world who are right there with you, and they won't tolerate or stand for this injustice any longer.
This is a very important day, the 8th of May, all over the world, since many years, but in 2012 it's clear that there is no more important place to remember when we are celebrating the Women's Day than Iraq and the camps Ashraf and now the so-called Liberty. Because the women, the thousand women that are in these places have been showing to their own country, Iran, and to the whole of the world, the importance of the rights of women. They have risked everything. They have been the most courageous people in front of terrorist regime. And their message is that there is no democracy, there is no human rights if the misogyny will not be stopped, if the rights of women will not be taken as the most important. This has been a message that has been conveyed already for decades by the Iranian resistance. I would like to stress that no other movement, especially opposition movement, in the whole of the so-called Islamic world has understood this issue as well as did the Iranian resistance. And I think that in this respect we have to pay specific homage to Mariam Rajavi. She has really seen more and earlier than any other. And so my thoughts are in this day for all of the women in the world, for the women that are struggling in Syria against this terrorist dictatorship supported by the Iranian regime, to the women that are struggling in whole of the regimes that are not recognizing equality of women and men, and especially for you that hopefully will be able to see me in Camp Ashraf and Liberty.
Hello, I'm Carol Fontaine from the United States of America, and it is my great pleasure to be the facilitator of the interreligious group for the support of protected persons in Ashraf and now Camp Liberty. It is a wonderful thing to be here with everyone on International Women's Day and to hear Madame Rajavi and so many women leaders speak so movingly about Ashraf and what is happening in Camp Liberty. I think one of the things that we see, especially when we consider the suffering in Syria at present, is what a marvelous example the Iranian women of Camp Ashraf and Liberty have shown to the world. Even in the darkest times, they continue to resist the fascist understanding of the mullahs that would take a religion of words and laws and decency and turn it into a tool of torture. The women of Syria can draw hope from their sisters in Ashraf and in Camp Liberty, and I only hope they also know that all of us around the world are thinking of them and hoping for them. Our sisters in Camp Ashraf need us now more than ever, since we understand that so much of what was promised by the United Nations is in fact being betrayed by the al-Maliki government. And yet the women take up their responsibilities and continue to resist. They are a city of hope, even in the midst of the terrible conditions in Camp Liberty. Madame Rajavi and so many of the wonderful women from the Muslim world that she has brought together often says that what is going on in Iran should serve as a definite warning to women around the rest of the world. The women of Ashraf, however, did not collapse into helplessness or passivity. In fact, they moved forward with their resistance, even to the point of giving their lives for their comrades and for their country. The way they have organized, the way they continue to mobilize women around the world is, I think, just astonishing to many of us. Before we knew the women of Ashraf, we were not really aware of how much Muslim women had to suffer and how much they can do in response to it. Even now in the United States, we are seeing the rise in our presidential elections of some very disturbing tendencies, almost a kind of Christian Sharia that seeks to deny women choice and full representation. And the example of the women in Ashraf tell women everywhere in the world that we must be vigilant to protect our freedom, to protect our daughters, and to liberate our men. Every time a woman steps back and accepts a second-class status, that means she has also allowed the men around her to move forward in a false consciousness in a way that is not good for their souls or their work in the world. So Ashraf, again, is a beacon to us. It is something we did not know before, but now when we see the women of the Arab Spring, we say, we know these kind of women. We have seen them in Ashraf. My dear sisters, I have spoken to you before, and I have written about you, and I have written with you, and believe me, we try with every fiber of our being to make known your situation to people who would never dream a place like Ashraf could exist. And I must tell you also from my heart that I grew up in a very, very poor neighborhood in the United States, and it was named Liberty City. And when I first heard that Ashraf was being relocated to Liberty, my heart sank, because in my own situation there was no liberty in Liberty City, just as now for you. There is no liberty in Camp Liberty. We did not have drinking water. We were not cared for by the state. We had only Haitian brothers and sisters around us. And so, in some small way, I know what you are facing and how you are suffering. But please believe, we send you our strength and our prayers every day, and we know that God will deliver you. Even now, we know you are surrounded by a world of love. We have not forgotten you, and we continue to work so that you may be safe one day and continue your work against the kind of religion that carries only death and not life. Viva Ashraf! Viva Rajavi!